So welcome everybody. So today I want to show you how to make a bridal pomander, or what some people would just call a ball of flowers. Something that the little flower girl could carry for a wedding or a young bridesmaid, but this could also be used as a decoration, maybe to hang on a pew end, though it could work out quite expensive because it uses a lot of flowers. So materials that you will need. The first thing you're going to need is a dry sphere. So this is basically a foam ball, so it's using the dry oasis, so the dry foam is what you need. And the measurement of this is 3.5 inches, or approximately 9-10 centimetres. So if you go to your local florist, you'll be able to purchase one of these. The next thing you need is some 20 gauge wires. Now these wires are about 12 inches in length, but I will be cutting them in half, you know that way, so you won't need that many of them. So I'd say you need about 15 or 16 of these wires, depending on the length that you want. As I said, these are 12 inches, but I'll be cutting them in half. The next thing you need is a roll of gutta tape. You could use this in green or white, it'll work for you. You need some fabric ribbon. The fabric ribbon is to make the little handle for holding the pomander. So you need like a length of fabric ribbon, depending on the size or the length of the handle that you want. And then you will need 35 large carnations. So these carnations that I'm using today are kind of a vintage pink colour. They do look they're quite unusual. I think they look really nice and look different. But like 35 like all white carnations, all pink carnations, whichever colour you prefer. You could obviously substitute them for roses. It would work out around 40 to 50 rose heads. You'll be amazed how many flowers it will take to cover in that bowl. Okay, so first thing is to make the handle. So get your length of ribbon and like fold it over, and you have your two raw ends together. Now depending on the age of the child and the size of the ball you're making, you can choose to make this handle a little bit larger or smaller. Our two raw ends that are together, I'm just going to gather or pinch them in together nice and tight. I'm right-handed, so I'm now going to place it in my left hand with my left hand gripping it on top. So here I have two 20 gauge wires and they're gutta taped together. At the top of the wire I'm going to bend it over, and I'm going to make what we call a hairpin bend or a one-legged mount. I'm going to place the hairpin bend on the end of the ribbon, secure it with my thumb, with my left thumb. With my right hand I'm going to grab the wire about halfway down, and I'm going to wind the wire around 2 or 3 times, third time there, and straighten back out again. That's to secure the end. To make it even more secure, I'm going to get a little piece of our gutta tape, and I'm just going to go over that little hairpin bend or that one-legged mount that I mentioned. So I'm just going to tape over it down onto where I wrapped the wire around the 3 times, and down onto where the little raw piece of ribbon was still sticking out, and that just makes it extra secure. And now to secure it into the foam ball, sorry, foam sphere, what you do is you get so there's two 20 gauge wires here together, so it's quite strong. So insert that down into the ball, push it right down where the little knot is that I taped over. Insert that down into the ball as well. Turn your ball upside down, and just where the wire has come through the opposite end, make a little hairpin bend or a little U-bend, see like what I'm doing there, and just insert it or push it back into insert it back down into your dry oasis ball, and that's your handle secure. And just in case on the day that the child goes like that, at least you know it's not going to fall out. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wire and tape up the 35 large carnations. Now a lot of people watching are probably saying, well, if you're using fresh flowers, why would you not use like a fresh foam or a wet oasis? The disadvantage of using a wet oasis, as I said, I'm going to use 35 flowers. That's a lot of flowers, a lot of pressure to put on a piece of foam. And again, because it's a young child that's going to be carrying this, the chances of an adult carrying it is slim. And you see the way I swung it around there earlier on, like it's going to take a lot of bashing. Where I find with the dry foam, it's a lot more secure. But to try and get your fresh flowers into the dry foam, it is hard. So by wiring each flower individually, I'm going to demonstrate one now, but then I'll go up close to the camera and I'll demonstrate it again, just to make sure that everybody has the technique. It means that I'll be able to insert the flowers a lot easier and a lot faster, and also they'll be more secure in it. The other thing is, because there's a wire now going up through each flower, which I'll demonstrate, each flower then is really secure. So again, if she's knocking it off her dress, or she's hitting it off the pews, or, you know what I mean, she's just hitting the ball off different items on the day of the wedding, like the heads are not going to pop off. It also keeps it nice and light. Like a wet foam ball would be quite heavy, and sometimes you find the ribbon comes out the top of them. So that's why I'm not using the wet ball. Like lots more reasons, like it could drip, you know what I mean? People say cover it with cling film, but you have all the problems with trying to get the flowers in through the cling film. So back to wiring your flowers. First thing is cut your stem, and all you're looking for is about 1 centimetre of a stem, so cut them quite short. Get your 20 gauge wire, and remember I said about cutting them in half. To be honest, that's still going to be too long. I'd actually get away with cutting it in 3. I'm now going to get the wire and I'm going to insert it up through the bottom of the stem. So just at the moment I've just inserted it into the stem, and I'll do a close-up of this, so don't panic. And now I'm going to give the wire a good push and push the wire right up into the flower head. Now I know at this stage that I have, inserted into the flower head, but if you're at home and you're not too sure, just continue pushing it until you can see the wire coming up through the top there. So I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, the wires come through the top. So now you know that for definite you went through the flower head, but it's not necessary to come all the way, so I'm just going to push that back a little bit. So I'm now going to secure the flower onto the wire using the gutted tape. The idea of the gutted tape is the more you stretch it and the heat of your hand, that's what makes it sticky. Everybody has their own technique of doing the gutted tape. I normally use my left hand to wrap the tape around. I use my right hand for rolling the tape on. So my stronger hand, so with my right hand here, I'm just kind of like rolling it between my finger and my thumb. And then with my left hand, I'm pulling the tape slightly downwards on an angle, and my right hand keeps rolling, moving down, and keep coming down the wire. There's no need to go all the way down. I just went down about, I'd say 5 or 6 centimetres there. I'm just going to break off the tape. And then, as I said, I'm going to cut the wire even shorter because that's the length I need. I'm just looking for a short piece of wire. Now I am going to demonstrate this up really close and personal so you can see it again. So as I said, I'll demonstrate this up close. So get your large carnation and you're cutting, all you need is approximately 1 centimetre of a stem. The shorter you cut the flower, the easier it will be to wire it. You have your 20 gauge wire, and as I said, you can cut the wire in half, but to be honest, you'd actually get away with cutting the 12-inch wires into 3. You're then going to insert the wire up through the centre of the stem. So just kind of insert it there slightly at the beginning. And what I want to do is push the wire all the way up through the stem into the flower head. So give it a good push and push it all the way up, you know what I mean? It just came through the head there a little bit, until it's up into the flower head. The idea is that if anybody hits off the flower, and hopefully they won't do that to it on the day, is the wire will bend over, but they're not going to actually knock the flower head off. You then get your gutted tape, and as I said, I'm right-handed, so I always bring the gutted tape in from the left-hand side. With my right hand, I then tuck the tape around, and I kind of like roll it between my finger and my thumb, just to catch it. And again, like my left hand, I'm kind of pulling it and rolling. If you actually go to our YouTube channel, so it's Kay's Flower School, you'll be able to watch a tutorial on how to actually gut a tape. There's no need to tape down too far, just tape down a couple of centimetres, tear off your tape, never cut the tape with a scissors, always tear it with your fingers. And then I'm going to cut the wire even shorter, so that's what I meant. I would actually have got away with cutting the wires into 3 and I still would have had plenty. The whole idea of the gutted tape is it seals in the end of the flower. So again, as I was mentioning earlier on, I am using dry oasis, so the flower is not going to get any water. By putting the gutted tape around the end of the flower, you're sealing it in. Try and imagine it like a plaster on the end of a wound or a cut. So you're sealing it in, you're sealing in any sap or moisture, and that's what the flower lives off. So all 35 large carnations are all wired and taped up. Just if you're calculating your flowers yourself, maybe allow up to 40 flowers. I purchased in the flowers about 5 days ago so that I would get them nicely opened. Normally on a flower arranging class, I would advise my students not to force the flower open with their fingers. But because this would be for a bridal situation or a wedding situation, and hopefully the wedding is going to be within the next 2 days, it would be okay to force the flowers open with your finger. Normally when you do that, it causes a bruise on the flower, but the bruise normally shows after 4 or 5 days, and hopefully in that case the wedding is actually going to be over. You could make this on a Thursday night for a Friday wedding. So if you wanted to preserve it, I'll show you a spray that you can spray on the flowers. You could wrap it lightly in cling film, and then you could place it in your fridge, just your normal household fridge, and it would be perfect for a Saturday wedding. Just as an alternative, like on trend this year seems to be ribbons trailing out of wedding bouquets. So fabric ribbons seem to be all back in. So what I've just showed here is just where I have another piece of ribbon, but instead of having a handle out of it, I just have 2 raw pieces and just the ends of them fancied. And it's just if you want to have a tail of ribbon coming out the end of the pomander. So this time I'm going to insert this ribbon or this wire up through the opposite end of the ball, push it right through. Oh God, I would hit the ribbon on the other side, so just angled it there. There we go. Push the knot up into the foam ball, and then the spare piece of wire, like what I did earlier on to secure it, a hairpin bend, a little U-bend, and press it back down into it. And that just gives the effect of the tails coming out of the ball before I put the flowers in. So all the hard work is done, and now we're on to the easy part and the fun part, and that's inserting the flowers into the dry foam ball. You will find, because each of the flowers, as well as having a wire on it, so the wire is nice and thin now to go into the foam, but the gutted tape, it acts like a kind of a sandpaper effect. So when you insert the wire with the gutted tape into the dry foam, it really grips the dry foam, and it's very unlikely for the flowers to fall out. So the trick with this arrangement is you have to be able to count to 3. And for anybody that's watching outside Ireland, I'm even going to teach you a little bit of Irish. It's probably the only little bit of Oscaiga that I know. So normally what you do is you get 3 flowers and you place it around the handle quite close. And you can count 1, 2, 3. Or for anybody with Irish, you can go a hain, work your way around the handle, get the second flower, a doe, and move your way around the handle and get your third flower, a 3. A hain, a doe, a 3, and there's our 3 flowers coming around the handle. What I then do is I get 3 more flowers and I go in between them, but this time just working down a little bit lower. So we're back to English. 1 in between there, a second one, and coming around a third one. So as you can see, it's really, really easy. After that, there's no real need to keep counting in 3s. You're starting to just work your way around in a circle. So you're looking for any little gaps, so just turn the ball this way, and you might say to yourself, wouldn't it be lovely if we put a little flower in there? And what about if we put another little flower in there? Now I am like pushing these flowers down really secure into the foam. So the wire, that's why I had the wire cut really, really short, that I was able to like push it right down onto the foam. Now just need to straighten the wire on that one there. So there we go. Push the wire right down onto the foam. So just in case some people might think, oh God, they leave the flowers sticking out a little bit from the foam. It doesn't work. You need to press them right down onto it. So you just keep continuing. So I get another row of flowers. So if you know a little bit of Irish, a hain, a doe, a 3, a cather, a cougar shot. So you just keep working your way around until it kind of starts to get a little bit difficult to hold. You start to kind of like run out of space of trying to hold it. And when it gets to that stage, the best thing to do is turn the ball upside down, grip your fingers in through the, just to kind of show you what it looks like so far, by the way. So grip your fingers in through the flowers, just so I can kind of hold the ball. And now I'm working around the tail area. Now don't worry that I have more flowers on one side than the other. It's all going to balance up. So just around that tail area, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place in 3 flowers. So 3 flowers in quite close to the handle or the tail part, like what I did at the very top of the ball when I started off. So 1, 2, 3. And then in between them 3 flowers, I'm going to place 3 more, a little bit lower down this time. And you'd be amazed how secure this is. You can even see, like I'm kind of gripping it against my chest when I'm filling it in. And then what I have to do is I have to fill in any little spaces. So as I'm holding the ball there, you can see that little space. And we put 1 flower in there, and we put a second flower in beside it, so you can see how that's filling up. And then we work around, can you see, this way? And I'm just going to rest it against my chest and just get the flowers and stick them down really secure. So this is really, really easy to do. And anybody that maybe wants to copy it in artificial, you could get some artificial flowers. Now what you need is rounded flowers. Like if anybody's thinking of using chrysanthemums, chrysanthemums are not a great flower, they're too flat. Or Germany, they don't really work, you know, that way. Roses are perfect, but it would work out quite expensive. As you can see, if it's going to take 35 to 40 large carnations, like large carnations, to fill up this ball, how many roses is it going to take? But I must have that measured out. That's just after working out perfect for me. So there's our ball of flowers. You can see it's really secure. That vintage colour just was really, really old-fashioned, isn't it? It's really nice. And that's our little ball of flowers that a little flower girl could carry, or as I said, a young bridesmaid. You could also hang this off a pew end. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to email me here at the school at info@flowerschoolisland.com. So as I mentioned, you could make this in advance. And like for a wedding that would be on a Saturday, you would be well able to make this on a Thursday evening. So make it up exactly as I've shown you. You can purchase this preservative spray in your local florist. It's called Chrysal Glory. Chrysal would be the name of the company, so Chrysal Glory. And it just comes out like water, and what it is, it's a hydrator for the flowers, because the only drink these flowers are going to get now is what I've actually sprayed onto them. What you then do is you lightly cover it in cling film and you place it in, depending on your fridge, but like where you would have maybe your plastic boxes where you might store your vegetables. Don't have any vegetables now in the little box. So the little box in the bottom of your fridge, cover that lightly in cling film, place it down into the bottom of your fridge. So just use the turntable here, and it'll be absolutely perfect. The ribbon might get a little bit damp and it'll be cold, but it'll be fine, it will. So then on Saturday morning, the day of the wedding, take that out, remove the cling film. If you feel it needs another little spray, you can spray it, but it should possibly, it'll be fine. And if anybody that's watching and they're feeling that they haven't got the Chrysal Glory or they have difficulty getting it, you could just mist it lightly with water. It's not going to do the exact same job, but it's better than nothing. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure that you go to our website. Our website is flowerschoolireland.com, and we have lots of online tutorials which you can download. But also if you go to our YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, which is Kay's Flower School, we have lots of little short tutorials just showing you like little ideas that you can copy at home. And if anybody's watching and you enjoy this, please tell your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook, share the love and show us lots of love. Listen, thanks a million for watching.